We are the men in black.
There is an art to crafting a good B movie. People often think of that as a criticism, assuming that the B stands for bad, but really it comes from an early studio system that had tiers for their productions. The A films simply having a higher budget or a longer runtime than the lower B tier. But these lower budgets inspired an array of campy sci-fi or horror movies like the Hammer productions that eventually led to cinema classics like Psycho or Easy Rider. The exploitation movies from early Hollywood inspired George Lucas when creating Indiana Jones and Star Wars, as well as influencing the original summer blockbuster, Steven Spielberg's Jaws. It was this unique combination of art house and camp influence that led to some of the highest grossing films ever made, and launched countless other careers. Nowadays, this B-movie template has been used by virtually every other blockbuster of the last 50 years. It's at the core of everything from the MCU to James Bond to Jurassic Park. But sadly, I think in most of these modern franchises, or even in the standalone summer blockbusters, they've been able to capture the camp, but that art house influence has mostly been lost. When we go back to the blockbusters of the 90s, you can see what I mean. When films actually put actors in the same room to film a scene, when effects shots weren't slapped together by overworked and underpaid VFX artists, when directors were allowed to chase their own artistic vision and not just comfortably fit into some mega franchise. Men in Black may not be my favorite blockbuster from this era, but it's been a movie I've loved ever since I was a kid, and I still return to it often when I want to be reminded of what good blockbuster filmmaking looks like. I think we can all agree that the two sequels were less than perfect, and I have yet to even watch the newest one. But I think that the original film should be studied by anyone trying to make fun escapist entertainment today, because it packs all of the punch that you would expect from a summer movie. It's got humor, action, a little bit of romance, but there's such a depth to the craft, specifically in its writing, that I feel is often overlooked. So a brief primer in case you haven't seen it or it's been a while. The Men in Black operate in secret outside of any other system on Earth. They made contact with aliens decades ago and now work as a hybrid of diplomat or immigration attorney and even law enforcement. They handle the day-to-day complications of trying to keep hundreds of aliens hidden here on Earth, while avoiding unnecessary conflict with any other civilization. After Kay's partner goes into retirement, he starts the process to find a replacement, bringing in candidates with military or police backgrounds to try out for the job. While the following scenes aren't an introduction to Jay, they give us the perfect distillation of his character and why he's ultimately chosen for the job. Becoming an agent of the Men in Black carries a unique responsibility, highly classified, highly sensitive situations that, if poorly handled, could start a galactic war. So they're looking for someone who can offer the best of the best physically, like you would find in the typical soldier, but they need someone who is more than that. There's no rule book for half of what they encounter on a daily basis, so they need someone intelligent, someone capable of quick thinking, but also someone with inherent humanity and compassion.
You're late. Sit down.
When all of the candidates sit down to take the first test, Jay is immediately isolated from the pack in multiple ways. He's the last to arrive, he sits at the very end of the row, and he's the only one not wearing military dress uniform. On the surface, it's an odd man out gag. The humor arises from the inherent awkwardness of the situation that he seems clearly out of place within. But under the humor is so much great character detail that reveals exactly why he was the perfect choice. While the rest are happy to follow any given order and simply hope to attain this position that they know nothing about, Jay is the only one to even question what they're doing there.
What's so funny, Edwards?
He's just really excited and he has no clue why we're here. That's very funny to me.
The rest of the scene continues the gag, as he accidentally rips the test, breaks his pencil, and then awkwardly drags the table over.
Wanna get down on this?
But think about it. Why give everyone an egg-shaped chair that's awkward to sit in with a flimsy paper test and no surface to write on? Unquestioning, the rest just fumble around and try to use their leg or the inside of the chair to little success. But it's Jay that realizes there is a perfectly good table just sitting there. He shows resourcefulness, problem-solving, determination, and he remains firm in his convictions despite clear judgment from others. It's played for humor because in his mind and everyone else's in that room, he's totally blowing this interview, but the opposite is actually happening. The next scene basically runs through all of these same steps, but does it all even better, as they're put into a shooting drill with flashing lights and cardboard cutouts. Every other candidate immediately opens fire at everything that looks like a monster, while Jay shoots the little girl.
May I ask why you felt little Tiffany deserved to die?
Again, there's just an inherent humor to the situation, but underneath that humor is more character detail that gives us everything we need to know, even if we don't catch it on the first viewing. The men in black diffuse conflicts, they don't start them. Having some trigger-happy Marine who has been conditioned to fire without thinking isn't really going to work well with aliens of all shapes and sizes who often dispel any preconceived notions about what looks like a monster and what actually is one. Jay is the only one who shows any hesitation, but he's really just exercising caution in a situation that clearly needs it. He explains his decision using logic that plays like a joke, referencing a little white girl in the ghetto and the suspiciously complicated textbooks that she's carrying around.
She about to start some shit, Zed. She's about 8 years old. Those books are way too advanced for her. If you ask me, I say she's up to something.
Everyone else in the room gives him that knowing smirk, like, can you believe this guy? But it turns out that he is right. As the animated series confirms, this little Tiffany is actually a disguise for the Bug Queen that's looking to start a war. So when the rest of these candidates are getting what they believe to be some warm adulation, Zed is actually mocking them.
Congratulations, you're everything we've come to expect from years of government training.
These are such perfectly crafted scenes because they play as straight entertainment. We can laugh at the situation and we can relate to that awkwardness, but these aren't just moments of levity. It's levity that moves the story forward, that establishes important character traits, and it's shocking how rare moments like this have become in most modern blockbusters. Too often, moments of humor are just that, a little pause to get a chuckle out of the audience before moving on with the rest of the story. But there's no reason a scene can't do both.
We are going to die!
Naturally, we want humor in our escapist entertainment, but it should affect the story, or at the least tell us more about the characters, like the infamous pizza time scene from Spider-Man 2. This isn't just an iconic meme moment, it's showing us an incredibly low point in Peter's life, where this attempt at juggling both his daily life as Peter and his secret life as Spider-Man are starting to take its toll, setting us up for the moments where he loses something far more valuable than a delivery job. These scenes are all setup. The majority of the film is about the partnership that they develop as they try and stop this war. So you want to get the story moving in that direction pretty quickly, but making sure that these scenes do more than just move the story forward or pause for a moment of levity is what makes them great. Just these little touches that give us a better idea of these characters that start to form the bond they'll develop throughout the film. Like this moment after Jay has been chosen and Kay is bringing him up to speed.
Oh, you brought that tall man some flowers.
It's not just funny, it's setting the groundwork for their friendship through these shared ideals. He didn't react with fear or confusion or judgment. He doesn't even call him an alien, but a tall man. He sees the humanity, for lack of a better word, in these aliens. And that's exactly what Kay was hoping to find.
Let's hope you know what you're doing.
The film is obviously elevated for many reasons. Barry Sonnenfeld's direction, Danny Elfman's score, Rick Baker's effects. The performances in particular carry a lot of the heavy weight, especially Vincent D'Onofrio, who I think is absolutely mesmerizing to watch in this movie. But it all starts with a great script. As Spielberg likes to say, if it ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage. And the script that Ed Solomon created is filled with tons of these subtle character moments throughout. I just wanted to highlight a few of my favorites here, because I think this is how more films should be written, with thoughtful intention behind every scene that can give us a laugh while building character relationships and giving us a reason to root for someone. The kind of film that can offer some solid slapstick while also giving us moments that could belong in any critical darling.
1,500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew the Earth was flat, and 15 minutes ago, you knew that people were alone on this planet.
Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
There's a lot that can be said for this movie and its strengths. It still holds up shockingly well even after so many years, and I wish more movies of today could look like real movies again, with real cinematography and proper sets, but mostly I just want to see that clever B-movie writing again. Something that knows how to have fun, but not lose all semblance of artistry in the process. And maybe bring back some of the cinematic literacy that made these original campy movies so successful in the first place.